Take two.
Take two. We're back. Where did we cut off?
Were we ever on is the question. Were we ever online at all, people? Let us know, because on our end, our internet just cut off as soon as we started streaming.
If a podcast falls in the forest, no one is around to hear the hot takes. Do they take hot? I was just making the point that I was glad that Nate was finally bringing seltzer into the house. I'm drinking Polar today. Intern Nate is the one who bought the Polar. Intern Nate, of course, is no longer Intern Nate. He's just Nate. He's not our intern anymore. So
No, he's not our intern.
Nevertheless...
was he ever?
Was he ever? Nevertheless, carrying seltzer is like you do more labor, right? You pay for like $4 for a case of seltzer, but then you have to carry it, and that itself has a cost. The carrying cost. The carry cost, right?
Carried interest.
The carry premium, and I don't mind buying the seltzer. I feel a little bit carried. You know, that didn't really work. That didn't really work. But I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
Pay the carry cost. Pay the carry cost.
This could apply to a whole number of things.
Pay the carry cost.
Apologies to people who've been expecting us to live stream GTA over the last few days. Instead, Sam and I have been in a Civ hole. We've been playing Civ after work instead of GTA. So we're not streaming that yet. It's not exactly streamable just yet.
Right. Although, not tonight, but tomorrow night, I think there's a chance that the GTA feed could be fired up for a little bit.
Maybe.
We'll
see where we stand in our Civ game.
I think we could take like a 45-minute GTA break.
Can I just say, there's a lot of lecturing going on of like what leftists should do. Let me throw my 2 cents in and say that you're not a true leftist unless you pursue and implement communism every time you play Civ. Right?
That's true. I go full communist every time.
And if you're not looking at your competitors, the AIs in the game, to see if they've gone fascist and then declaring war on them when they do, you're not playing the game right.
Agreed.
All right. Anything else? Should we just get on with the newscast? We're already late here. We're already late here because of the technical difficulties. I think we should just get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is District Sentinel Radio, the loudest newscast on the left. I'm Sam Sachs.
I'm Sam Knight.
And we are broadcasting out of the Intern Nate is Not a Worker studio in Washington, D.C.
The big reveal.
Check out the website, districtsentinel.com/internnateisnotaworker.org.
Speaking of things that are not things, I have a error in my rant yesterday. On the vote in the Senate on the judge, where 3 Democrats went with Republicans, and it put her over the top.
Yeah.
And technically, Mike Pence could have broken the tie if all Democrats stayed united. In my mind, for some reason, I thought that Jeff Flake actually voted no, which is not something Jeff Flake does.
No.
He just wasn't there. But I still think that Democrats should have made Pence get his mummified ass down to the Senate to have to break that tie. Because also, why are you fucking voting for this awful reactionary judge? What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, that's the least we should expect, is to force Mike Pence to have to do some work down by the Senate.
Yeah. We were talking during our interruption when we started our feed. The internet cut out, and we were talking. I was brainstorming about a new segment.
Yeah.
Blast their ass with the air gun. the dust gun, the duster thing that I bought to clean your computer. I was thinking that we could do a segment called "Blast Their Ass with the Dust Gun," where I shoot the dust gun into the microphone, and somehow I feel like that would work for Democrats who back
I like that.
Republican judges.
I like that. That could be kind of
blast their ass with the dust gun.
Like we do a garbage can every
clean 'em.
Friday, but during our newscast during the week, we could blast someone's ass with the duster.
I think we may have just come up with a new segment. We'll see.
Going to get to the newscast here shortly. Just a reminder, you can help support the two Sams in our news co-op, the District Sentinel, by becoming a subscriber on Patreon, patreon.com/District Sentinel. You get all sorts of bonus content. You get to live stream the show. Hello to everyone watching at home or at work right now. Hello to Luke. Hello to Royalton. Hello to Tina. Hello to Mark. Hello to Bagel Man. Hello to Dan. Got a lot of you all watching. Thank you for your support. Also, we've got all sorts of different tiers. You can lend money to us every month, like $15. You get a T-shirt. But if you want to become a sponsor of the show, $50 a month, you can become a sponsor. And we're no longer offering the $200 a month studio name. Someone has already claimed that for this month. Hence why we're calling it the Internate is Not a Worker Studios. But you can still claim it for next month. Reach out to us.
Well,
I feel like naming the studio.
A little into next month. We're gonna take some time off in the middle of August.
We have a week. Yeah, we have
a week and maybe a week and some change. Maybe a baker's dozen. No, half a baker's dozen. No, that never mind. I don't know what I'm saying here, but yeah. The point is, we're gonna be away for a bit in August.
No, the point is. Subscribe on Patreon. Patreon.com/District Sentinel. Even when we're off for a week, we're gonna have some bonus content. Like we'll drop a few little nuggets for our subscribers during that week, which is better for our non-subscribers who won't get anything because we're not gonna be doing the daily newscast because SK1 will be out of town and I might be as well. So that's that. All right. It is Wednesday, August 1st, 2018. Here's the news.
The guy following in the shoes of Scott Pruitt testified before the Senate today. Andrew Wheeler, the temporary new head of the of the EPA, appeared in front of the Environment and Public Works Committee. Many were relieved, of course, to see Pruitt gone, both lawmakers and people in the gallery, but Wheeler's presence still drew protests. Demonstrators were escorted out at one point for holding up signs calling Wheeler Pruitt's puppet. Before joining the public sector, the now temporary administrator spent years working as an energy industry lobbyist. Here was Massachusetts Democrat Ed Markey attacking Wheeler and the Trump environment agenda. Markey specifically brought up the killing of car fuel economy standards and questions the new hot centrist take on Trump and the Koch brothers being enemies.
There's been a lot of news recently about a rift between President Trump and the Koch brothers. President Trump and the Koch brothers might disagree these days on politics, but they are always in agreement on petroleum.
Wheeler, to his credit, reversed one of Pruitt's rule reversals on pollution limits for certain trucks. But according to Markey, since 2010, the fuel economy standards have reduced spending on oil by 540 million barrels, or $63 billion at the pump, so they will not be coming back. Just because Wheeler isn't trying to get his wife a Chick-fil-A franchise doesn't mean he is not a total sleaze.
Who among us, though, really?
Would want to get their wife a Chick-fil-A franchise?
Sure.
I mean, it happens. Pruitt's sleazy legacy was still a subject of contention today, though, namely waivers he granted on renewable fuel standards to oil refineries. Conservatives from rural states have been up in arms over this. One beneficiary was Carl Icahn, a billionaire investor and former White House advisor, an early supporter of Trump when he was still a presidential candidate. Icahn has been investigated by prosecutors for his role in pushing Pruitt to implement the waiver policy, No word yet if that has turned up anything. Today, Republican senators from corn-producing states, one by one, asked Wheeler, what's the deal with the waivers that are helping oil and hurting ethanol? Here was South Dakota's Mike Rounds.
You've taken care of the small refineries. What about the small farmers? What about the folks that are producing on a year-to-year basis enough to get by in a time in which we've got trade issues in front of us and a time in which they expected that an RFP would be honored by the federal government that we made several years ago? So you've taken care of the small refineries, but you haven't taken care of the small farmers.
Go off, Corn King.
Way to be assertive and angry without turning into a corn cob.
Getting angry about corn without turning into it. This, by the way, this whole ethanol issue is 100% the reason why Pruitt is gone. He pissed off the ethanol industry. Wheeler also today got an earful from Iowa Republican Joni Ernst and Nebraska's Deb Fischer.
The Senate approved of a defense bill authorizing $717 billion for the U.S. war machine. The vote was 87-10, with 40 Democrats supporting it because, hey, if you think the commander-in-chief is committing treason, best fight it by reauthorizing all aspects of his military. This includes folks like Cory Booker and Sherrod Brown and Mark Warner and Tim Kaine all voting in favor of the NDAA. The bill is named after John McCain, though, so what else are Democrats to do? Civility, after all.
We crashed
everything.
We crashed a jet into a southeastern Asian country to honor John McCain here.
Bernie Sanders and 6 Democrats voted no. They included Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Elizabeth Warren. This year's NDAA lays the ground for Trump's Space Force. The bill includes language creating a sub-command for space. It also calls on the Pentagon to come up with a space war strategy by 2019. The NDAA approved today also includes $50 million in lethal weapons assistance to Ukraine. A rare restriction on the F-35 was also included in the bill. There's language blocking all sales of the plane to Turkey until the Pentagon releases an assessment on U.S.-Turkish relations. The House has already passed this measure earlier this week. It now heads to Trump's desk. He's expected to sign it.
The Treasury Department released a report yesterday amounting to a banking deregulation wish list. And the Trump administration has Democrats as key allies on one major issue. Specifically, the report calls on Congress to restore the so-called valid when made doctrine. This refers to a 2015 appellate court decision in Madden v. Midland, which held that a non-bank lender had to respect limits on interest rates in the state where the borrower is located. That means if the Madden decision were reversed, payday lenders could peddle their poison all around the country from states where regulators are most bought off by the industry. And some Democrats are all about this. Last year, legislation to reverse Madden was co-sponsored in the House by 4 lawmakers, including 2 Democrats, Gregory Meeks and Gwen Moore. It passed 245 to 171 with the support of 16 Dems altogether. H.R. 3299, if you want to look up the roll call there on Congress.gov. No movement yet in the Senate, but there is a companion bill co-sponsored by 4 senators, including 2 Democrats, Michigan's Gary Peters, and Virginia's. Which one do you think it is? Is it Tim Kaine or Mark Warner?
It could be either one,
It's
honestly.
Mark Warner, because Mark Warner's on the banking committee. And no doubt, no doubt these Dems stand ready to pounce to gut anti-loan sharking laws after the publication of yesterday's report by Treasury. Got to reach across the aisle and get stuff done. You know how Dems like to do. How much you want to bet this happens, by the way, in the lame duck session of Congress when no one's paying attention, everyone's rushing around before Congress ends and the holidays and...
Watch Democrats get huge majorities but give Republicans everything they want in the lame duck session before it switches over. Could totally see that happening. Finally today, disturbing news. Another story of alleged child abuse at an immigration detention center, this one in Arizona. Staff member at a facility operated by contractor Southwest Key was arrested for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old back in June. Evidence of the attack was documented by surveillance video and by witness accounts. Southwest Key came under fire last week following a report in The Nation about a 6-year-old detainee who was sexually assaulted by an older child who was also confined at the facility. This was at a detention center in Phoenix that, according to a local news affiliate, has been the target of numerous sexual misconduct investigations by police. At a hearing on Capitol Hill Tuesday, featuring immigration officials that we covered on yesterday's show, an ICE representative compared the conditions at detention facilities to a summer camp. There's still more than 500 children separated from their families by the U.S. government, and we're now days after a court-mandated deadline to reunify the families. That's going to do it for the newscast on this Wednesday. Before we go, though, we got to check out the listener rant line.
My boys, I don't even know where to begin with this bullshit. I got banned from Twitter. I got suspended on my birthday.
Harsh.
Way back when that disgusting pig Sarah Sanders got banned from that restaurant, or she got thrown out of that place for being, a disgusting, horrible person. Newt Gingrich opened up his disgusting pig mouth, and he had some shit to say about it. And I said to him, well, doesn't matter what I said to him, but it was bad enough to get myself banned, I guess. And they banned me on my goddamn birthday. Can you believe that shit? Anyway. Love you, boys. Have a good night.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, you don't even get all the balloons and shit on Twitter when you're banned on your birthday.
The thing about getting banned that sucks is it's kind of funny when it happens. It does kind of rule, but then you can't post a screenshot of it anywhere.
True. Thoughts with Dude Slater right now?
Yeah, really, Dude Slater. Geez, hope he's okay out there.
I like how the caller said it's not important what he said, even though that's the reason he got banned. Moving on.
Hey fellas, this is kind of a comment for an older episode, like 2 or 3 episodes ago, but I think y'all should go hog wild on GTA because, I know it's a little different for you guys because you're in something of a leadership position on the left. I know you don't think so, but you are. But the people, the working class, the proletariat, whatever you want to call it, is vulgar. People are vulgar, and you can't, socialism will never win if, you can't be a socialist and enjoy GTA. So, we'll never win if, it can't be a religion, or a morality thing. It's gotta be just regular-ass people. So, fuck it. Play video games. Who gives a shit? In a sense, fucking killing that hooker and beating up those innocent civilians is, for the cause. So think of it that way. So, every innocent person you slaughter in GTA is a banker getting the Vietnam treatment. Alright, peace.
Well, hard to argue with that logic.
Well, fortunately, the makers of GTA have removed the part of the game where you can have the sex worker engagement thing is
thankfully
not as much there anymore.
I still think we should try to abide by some sort of GTA ethic because it makes the game a little more interesting.
Look, it does make the game a little more interesting. You know how I feel though that if you're stranded out in the middle of the woods, sometimes you
got to call a cabbie. You
got to call a cabbie and do some stuff that's not whatever. But it's no reason to go around and massacre innocent crowds all the time. Maybe
okay.
10% of the time.
All right, one last call.
Sup, fellas? It's Keister. I listened to the rest of last week's newscast on my way back from Daytona, and I heard Sam Sachs suggest that he should, and I quote, correct the caller. I tell you what, that place is chock full of white trash with their giant trucks and Salt Life window stickers. Step into any local bar or pool hall like I did, and you will be greeted by yellow eyes and toothless jaws, people who look at you sideways as I sport my TYT Bitchy Rich t-shirt. Though I shouldn't look down at people who are on lower rungs of the economic ladder. Runaway capitalism has led many people to hate, taught to do so by politicians and the media, instead of banding together to fight the elite. Keep up the good work, fellas. Keister out.
Thanks for the call, Keister. I don't remember being that harsh on Daytona. I think my main thing about Daytona is that the sun has rotted everybody's brains.
Look, I have never been to Daytona, but I have been to parts of North Carolina, and I happen to find those places charming, and God bless them.
Florida, exactly the same as North Carolina. That's the show. Call the rant line, 202-684-6108. Sponsors of the show include the Congressional Dish podcast hosted by Jen Briney. Find it at congressionaldish.com and levelnews.org. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Tune in by searching for District Sentinel Radio. Give us a review. Give us a rating. Tell your friends to listen. Also, subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/District Sentinel, $5 a month. You get access to bonus content. You also get the live stream, all the good stuff. The music cutting out there, but it's back. It's back. No live stream tomorrow. We will have we'll have a show coming out for you, but it will not be live streamed. Stay tuned for the Sentinel cast for our Patreon subscribers on Friday. We're here in DC, so you don't have to be.